Welcome back to the Football Tragics. Obviously, it is game week 3. Somehow Arsenal have found themselves at the top of the ladder. Leeds are in the top 4. Fulham and Nottingham Forest are in the top 10. And Chelsea, United and Liverpool are obviously in the bottom half of the table. I am joined by Morty. There is no Aaron. Every time Chelsea seem to lose, Aaron's got work. But Morty, how are you doing tonight?
I can say I've had better days. It's been a rough couple of hours post this game. So,
Well, obviously,
yes.
guys, like Morty's saying, it has been a rough day for him. It's been a great day for me. We will touch on that United versus Liverpool result a little bit later, but we'll kick it off with Campo's team. Campo is sick, but Tottenham did get the 1-0 result against Wolves. I'm going to go as far as saying this was kind of undeserved. I think Wolves battered them for the best part of probably 60 minutes. How did you see this one, Morty?
I saw the Tottenham of old being absolute shite and just pulling something out of their ass, as the old Conte. Like, his five at the back, it's not going to work for every team. And I don't know if, he's brought Perisic in. Yes, he looked all right, but they go back down the other side and they just don't seem to get the ball up top. Like, Son doesn't like. There's no free flowing game for Son, Kuleveski, and Kane. Kane doesn't suit this formation whatsoever. And they scored off the corner. What more can you say? Like, they didn't really have any clear cut chances. They were just all over the shop. I don't see them progressing, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, we talk about how I said the dominance in that first half alone. Possession, although it was 50-50, Wolves had 12 chances to Tottenham's one. So obviously playing 5 at the back isn't 100% working for them. They didn't concede. So it's a great day for them. But obviously, like you said, they're lacking that attack. And I guess it's not suiting his system, but Kane gets on the score sheet again. But we'll move on to obviously Everton 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Morty, they almost held on. Everton get that late result. What were your thoughts on this one?
I was up. I was cheering them on all the way home. They got on the score sheet, and then just one moment of slip. Like, Everton did not deserve this point whatsoever. They were okay. Look, they didn't play badly, but they're just shit. Like, again, we saw it again. Like, they're not creating nothing. Like last week, they kind of turned it on for the last 10 minutes. They're conceding shots. Nottingham Forest were just defending well. Like that, it was just. I know, like, you look at the stats and you say, like, yeah, they had a couple of shots and whatnot, but they weren't meaningful shots. They were just pop here, pop there, have a go, no real big chance, and it was just like, just go home. Like, well, they're not even the worst side in Merseyside at the moment, but still, screw them. They're just crap.
Obviously, there is a rule out there. Aaron made a TikTok, obviously, on our thoughts, mine and Campo's about, obviously, Lampard and Everton. Do you see him seeing out the season, or do you think he could be that first manager sacked?
I think he will be the first one sacked. Like, I can't say, as far as I agree with Campo, he's not a great manager, but he did do great with the young ones coming through at Chelsea. But I think that's where he needs to be. Like, he's at that point of his career where he needs to go off to, I don't know, League One or the Championship, train them up, use his craft, when there's no expectations in the players, you get to manage them to success. You kind of breed a lot more, and you get to use your tactics a bit more. When he's coming into trying to manage these players that are already established, so to speak, he's going to come up with his own tactics. It doesn't really flow through. Like, Gerrard's finding his feet every now and again, but like, he hasn't done anything before this, and it's showing because he's got his one tactic, throws it at the wall, hope it sticks. If it doesn't, well, then he's going to have a new club by next year again. So, yeah.
100%. Well, obviously that does. Obviously, it's a good point for Nottingham Forest, a good point for Everton. We think both of them are going to be fighting for relegation come the end of the season. But moving to a team that is in relegation versus a team that you had sitting 20th in your season predictions, it's Leicester City 1, Southampton 2. You're probably thankful that Gibbo's no longer on the pot after this result and this morning's result. But are we giving Southampton a bit of credit, or is it just your Rodgers getting sacked starting to come to light?
I think it's the Rodgers getting sacked. I mean, Southampton had no ball, some shots, a bit of a dead game, but Leicester. I don't know where they turn. I don't know what they do. Tielemans is still linked out. I think Arsenal is still going to be in for him. We'll touch on Liverpool soon, but we are in desperate need of another mid. I don't know where they go from here. They've got no one left. I don't know who's coming in. Fofana's still being linked around. And if they lose those two to any of, they are. I'm worried for them. Rodgers, yeah, I'll be happy to see him walk out the door after all this time. But we've seen it. He can build a team, he can build the squad, but as soon as that squad needs to start competing, he falls apart, and he doesn't have the superstars.
All right, and what about the other end of that? 20th place in prediction, Southampton. Can Che Adams lead that line to success off the bench, or is it about time they dip into the market?
Even Norwich got a win here or there, mate. It's not gonna. It doesn't count. Let's be real. They'll be down the bottom. They'll be been and gone. Leicester will have a new manager. Southampton will still keep Hasenhüttl there. They'll go down to the Championship with him, and he'll do some wonders. And then Liverpool will be able to finally buy some good players again because they've been producing dog shit lately. That's why we're suffering.
Well, obviously, speaking about Norwich, we have their shadow in Fulham 3 versus Brentford 2. Now, I can't really say too much about how poor Brentford played because they did slap us up, obviously, last week. Fulham went ahead. Brentford pulled it back. They thought they had rescued a point, and then up steps Mitrovic, who is obviously continuing his run into the Premier League of goals scored. I was the only one in the predictions to keep Fulham up. Have you changed your mind? Do you think they have enough to stay up in the Premier League this year?
No, not really. I think they've done better than I expected, but I think it's kind of like Brentford last year. They came out like a house on fire. They drew with us, won against Arsenal. Everyone thought their thing, and then all of a sudden we got to 3/4 of the way through the season, and Brentford were there or thereabouts. And I think the quality is a lot better last year. Like last year, we had two teams that were pretty much going down without fail. I think there's going to be a lot more competition down the bottom. I think to hold those three spots off, that Fulham just won't be there.
100%. And what I guess what do you think your thoughts are on this game? Obviously, Fulham came out, they scored within the first minute. They then scored again in the 20th minute to go ahead. Did you think it was a good look from Fulham and maybe a new era under their coach, Seaman? They did go ahead. They got chased down, but they had that momentum to pull back ahead and get that win.
Look, they're not going to shy away from scoring goals. I mean, they come up against Liverpool. Anyone that wants to attack us and play the way they do, they're going to get some goals. But the fact that they were up 2-0, they're looking strong to collapse at that point. Yes, they caught it back, but that's against Brentford. If they do that against Arsenal, anyone else, Man City will batter them. Like it's going to be a rough time. Once they get through those heavy hitters and they lose that confidence, that confidence run, they'll be back down there.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, I still think they have enough to go up, and it might not just be because I think Fulham's going to get enough points. I think a lot of teams below them, Everton, for example, West Ham look shambles. I think they're going to struggle. So it could be that Fulham survive based on everyone else being that poor. But moving into a result that shocked me, it was Crystal Palace's Vieira ball 3, Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa 1. Now, is Gerrard under pressure? Do you think, obviously, first, what were your thoughts on this game? And do you think Gerrard is under pressure, or do you think he sees out the whole season regardless if they find themselves in that relegation battle?
I think he'll see out a lot more of the season than we think. Like, I think he'll be down there or thereabouts, but I think they'll give him the chance to try and pull it back. They won't leave it too late. If he's still down there, 16th, 17th, I think he'll probably go. But we're talking post World Cup here. Like, I don't see him leaving before the World Cup. They'll give him everything. They've backed him in the signings. They've brought in everyone. One of them's gone down injured for the season. It happens. What do you do? But I think they'll get some ball, because on the other side of the park, Crystal Palace have put faith in Vieira, and Vieira ball, as we so speak. We saw a glimpse of it last year, and they're in red hot form this season. So can't fault them.
Well, I guess we're in a bit of disagreement there because, like I said on the last pod, I've got Gerrard getting the sack before Christmas. I don't think he's going to be here. especially based on last year. I don't know if that was a new manager came in. There's that momentum that every club seems to get when a new manager comes in. But obviously, Gerrard is supposed to be the heir to Klopp's throne once he does leave Liverpool. Is this a bit concerning how much he struggled so far in the early stages of his Premier League career?
Yes and no. I mean, every manager's going to have their ups and downs. I mean, it takes time to implement your thing. Like, he's had half a season. This is his first real go at it. Like, it's hard coming into a team. Like, you've seen it at United when the managers try building to his ball and another manager comes in and he's got to use the players he gets. Like, you see
What do you
Conte
mean? I
go
thought
up.
today was the first game of the season. We did brilliant for our first game of the season today.
But you look at players like managers like Conte, he keeps going back to the same players at all these clubs, trying to be the same because they have their faith in those certain players to play their style of football, and that's what they do. And I think that teams have got to start giving these managers time, and they've just got to go for it because the roulette that's happened just doesn't work. I mean, West Ham with Moyes, sack him, bring him back, and then they do wonders. So we've just got to stick with it.
And now they're back to sucking. So we'll see how that one obviously ends up with David Moyes and West Ham. But moving into a manager, probably did get a lot of time. It's obviously Bournemouth 0, Arteta, Arsenal 3 points. Again, this was a manager that arguably had 5 games to save his career last year. And they sit top of the table, 9 points from a possible 9 available, 2 goals against, 7 goals for. Gabby Jesus looking like the signing or one of the signings of the season. Is there a season 2 of All or Nothing? Is this a season 2? Is it like a remake coming up? Or what are your thoughts on this Arsenal side and how they're performing early on?
It's probably why they haven't released the whole thing yet. They're still making the end of it. They're going to go for they're all for it. Look, I backed him all last season. Arteta, he'll find a way to get through it. He's got some more signings in. He's got his ball. They've got the wage bills off. Jesus looks like a newborn player. He knows he's going to be in that starting squad. He knows he's going to have the chances. So he's not like, I think sometimes at City, like, he just wanted the ball so much because you don't get it all the time. You got to share it around. At Arsenal, he wants it. He gets it at his feet. He wants the ball up. He's getting it. All right, he didn't score this game, but it frees up everyone else on the pitch because Jesus is now a threat. He's going to get it whenever he wants, and everyone else seems to feel that open space on the thing. It's like, and that's what it is. So it's great to see Arsenal. They're battering squads. They're dominated. Defensively, they look pretty good. I think they'll be really, really right up there, and it's tough to see because it looks like, again, we say it again, it looks like it can be a competitive season because we'll follow on to another match down the track, but City dropping points.
100%. So obviously that kind of answered my next question. I'm going to say, do you think that they can compete realistically for this title? I'm going to hold my response on that. I reckon I'm going to give it another 2-3 weeks. They haven't had the toughest draw to start the season, but they are burying the teams that they should be burying. So if they can keep that up, if they can stay fit, they might strengthen in January. Who knows what's going to happen with this World Cup? So good start by Arsenal. If you're an Arsenal fan, you are absolutely cheering, but let's just see what happens over the next couple of weeks when you start coming up against a few of the big boys. But moving on to another team who obviously was top of the league last year. They did slowly fall out versus this year's bottom of the league. It's West Ham 0, Brighton 2. Moisey, you just spoke about him. West Ham got rid of him, got him back. They gave him time. They were probably the shining light of last season. Antonio up top, he was brilliant. He's been terrible this year. West Ham's been terrible this year. And Brighton under Potter just continue to keep improving. So what are your thoughts on this game? And then obviously Brighton, are they smoky for that Europa League spot?
Well, starting with West Ham, they always were a bit shit. They were just getting up for the big games that they should have and carrying that form on. So I'm not going to reserve judgment. They're not going to fall apart just yet. I think they've still got some quality. They've still got something. I think they should have brung Lingard back in. I know they skipped on him last season. If they had their time now, I think they probably had their time over. They would have taken him. Yes, he's getting paid whatever he's on at Nottingham, but at West Ham, the fans loved him. they would have given him time to succeed, which he probably needed again because United weren't giving him ball. But Brighton, they're just looking great. They can't put a foot wrong. I don't know what to say about them because they seem to get rid of all these great players, or they're saving Ben White, Morpay's being linked out. All these other things going wrong. Basuma to Tottenham, and they look like they're getting better for it. So whatever he's doing, whatever magic he's the pot of magic, we'll call it. He's doing wonders over there. So good on him.
All right, we've got Vieira ball. We now have Pot of Magic. We'll make sure we add that one to the weekly comments. But obviously, just looking at West Ham, we do have Fulham, who you still think's a chance to go down. You've got Southampton, who you're still not sold on. Everton, well, I think we're all sold that there's a potential they go down. Are West Ham in a serious threat here that they could go down, or do you think this is just a bad start and it'll happen what happened with Arsenal last year and they'll slowly start climbing that ladder?
No, because of those teams, I think West Ham better the rest of them, and you've also got Bournemouth in there. So I think they'll be there. They'll be right.
Well, Bournemouth fans, I did try to save you, but moving on to a team that I did have in relegation in my predictions, it's Leeds United 3, Chelsea 0. Aaron supposedly has work, so obviously he's not here to talk about this, but obviously his son did get on the score sheet. Mr. Arison did open up the scoring for Leeds in the 33rd minute. Before we even move on to the rest of that game, let's talk about the keeper. Is that one of the absolute howlers? Now, I know we sit here every single week and we hear people go, I don't watch the A-League because it's shit quality. Look how shit the keepers are with their feet. Then you see this in the Premier League. Is that one of the most embarrassing goals you can cop as a keeper in the Premier League?
Oh, I don't know. De Gea kind of topped it the week before.
I want to talk about De Gea because that game's coming up a little bit later.
I'll still talk about it. It happened. Anyway, we'll move on. But yes, it was appalling. Like, there's no words to describe it. Like, it's happened, but it has happened to the best of them. So you can't sit here and blame him for it. Chelsea didn't look like they were getting the lead back at all. They didn't look like they were even going to attack for it. So I don't know what's going on at Chelsea. I mean, they shouldn't really be in the league. Let's be real. I mean, Aaron will probably talk about another refereeing decision or whatnot, or something along those lines. But they shouldn't even be in the league to begin with. So yeah, we'll move on with it.
Well, obviously, Aronson did open up the scoring. Rodrigo has been an absolute ball of his season, doubled the lead. Harrison then put him ahead, and Mr. Koulibaly did obviously get sent off towards the back end of this game. It's hard to know what Aaron's predictions are, what his post-game reaction is to this. Obviously, his reaction in the inbox was Mendy's dog shit with his feet. F this, F that. That's about all we got out of him leading into that game. So we will leave it there, but we will move into, obviously, Newcastle United 3, Manchester City 3. They fight back. They salvage a draw. Mate, that pass by Kevin De Bruyne, is he still the best midfielder in the Premier League?
He is, without a doubt. You can't fault him. Saying that, you can fault the rest of the team because their defense was shite this game. I think that they were a bit. I think they looked like they were just overconfident. Like the wing. They were basically playing as like another lot of midfielders. They had no one at the back. They were just getting pulled apart coming through. Yes, City found a way to do it, but Newcastle, you know what they were fighting up against, and they had their plan for it. So it's not going to say it's concerning for City, but I don't know. I think this is just signs again that we're going to see City struggle in the Champions League because they do put up games like this, and when you tend to dominate games, other players get bored and whatnot. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to change it, but City will continue to keep doing the struggle streak every now and again.
I guess if we're a Premier League fan, does this kind of give us a bit of hope that it could be an open season? Now, obviously, like we said, City and Liverpool have just absolutely dominated this Premier League for the last few years. A draw like this to Newcastle, they still haven't played Liverpool, obviously, who are a few points behind, and they still haven't played the likes of Arsenal, Tottenham. I guess I got to throw United in there, saying we won this morning. Do you think it's going to be a more open title race? Do you think anyone's going to go for, say, that 90-plus points, or do you think it's going to be a lot closer than years past?
It's hard to say because we've thought for the last 3 seasons. Liverpool ran away with 1, City have run away with 2. It's just too hard to say at this point. I mean, once they get through that top 6, they've all played each other once. They've got some results. We'll kind of get more of a bearing on it. But again, it was a 3-way race started last year, ended in a 2-horse race, and Chelsea almost scraping in outside of Europe. So anything can happen. It's the Oil Cup. I mean, we'll see how it goes along. But yeah, I know Haaland's still getting on the score sheet, but I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced.
Well, I'm kind of agreeing with you. I'm not convinced that he is that striker that they need. Obviously, they did play last year majority without a striker, but obviously getting rid of Sterling, putting him up top, it is a bit concerning. But obviously, time will tell. They're still undefeated. They've still got 7 from a possible 9 points, and they're chasing down Arsenal, who we know they'll throw the bottle sooner or later, and City will be back on top. But moving into the game that arguably most people listening to this are here for, I'm going to let you have your say, obviously, on the lineup first. It is Manchester United 2, Liverpool 1. The lineup is on the screen now. Morty, talk me through, obviously, that starting lineup. I'll just pop Alisson in there. I guess talk me through it. Obviously, injuries galore, but did you think this is a lineup you should have gone with what was available?
Well, I thought Fabinho was injured, to be honest, and then I checked the bench, and he was still there, and I was just shocked. Jordan Henderson is our club captain, blah, 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 blah. My lord. All right. The bloke doesn't put his head up. I've been saying, I said this the year he won the bloody league. He got player of the year. I still didn't agree with it. He's my bloody club captain. He doesn't take anyone. He had didn't take on a single player. This is a United that got done 4-0 by Bournemouth. He can't even take on a player. You got McTominay there.
Come on, mate. We got done by Brentford. They're a bit better than Bournemouth. Give us some credit.
Both crap as each other. But anyway, he didn't even have a single take on. Milner, look, he's there. I can't fault him. He doesn't have a full 90 in him. He doesn't suit the playing with Henderson. And yeah, look, the both of them together, Milner's an aging one. Milner's the sort of player that should be there for squad rotation against a Bournemouth or whoever. Well, I mean, we're down there with them anyway, so I can't say anyone else is a shit. We're just as bad. But I was just shocked. And then poor Elliott's getting ripped to shreds, but he's still 19. He's expected to. He's the only one forward. Firmino's dropping back 400 meters to try and get a ball, and it just wasn't working for him. And they think as soon as Fabinho came on, right? Fabinho drops into that spot. He's 20 meters. He's 10 meters further than Van Dijk and Gomez. Gomez and Van Dijk are past the halfway line. They didn't pass the halfway line until Fabinho came on. They look a lot more structurally sound. Yes, we conceded one, whatever, but we scored a goal. We looked more threatening than ever. We could have had another goal. It just frustrates me. And it frustrates me that we haven't signed another centre mid when the player that I don't know why the hell we sold without him, done his time at PSG. He was still getting paid by PSG, currently paying his wage. Why not bring him back? We know he can do well. He'll do bits. He'll fill us in. He'll carry us through. And when Thiago's back from being injured, then you can, he sits back on the bench. Whatever. I don't care. But never again does Fabinho sit out against United.
Oh, well, I'm going to ask you 2 questions, obviously, before we move into the United lineup. One, do you agree with Klopp? Did you think that you deserved to win that game, or did you think United deserved it? And obviously, the second question, we've kind of avoided him a little bit here. You've said his name, Virgil van Dijk. Let's talk about that first goal and what your thoughts were on his defending, and then obviously the blow-up that he did cop from Henderson.
That was Milner. Milner blasted him.
Oh, Milner, sorry.
Yes. He was Okay, I can't say he was at fault. I mean, Sancho was calm on the ball. All right. If we see the Sancho last week, Sancho plays that ball first time. He tries to shooting. He doesn't have that time to plays that touch, and Van Dijk looks like a genius because he's blocked that shot. All right. As soon as he gets done by the ball, Van Dijk's yes, he probably should have rushed up or whatnot, but I think Van Dijk had made a decision at that point, knowing what Sancho had done. He probably would have shot normally, whatever it may be. It's a decision he's made. He's made the wrong one. Fair enough. We move on. Everyone's blowing up because of how good he actually is. It just shows how good he is because he concedes one goal and the world's ending. On the other hand, though, I think Gomez is he's back to showing that he is actually not too bad next to him. I mean, he did his job. He played his thing. I'd say it's more the midfield's fault with the second one. They're just trying to push up to try and push them as further forward, and they just didn't want to go any further forward. Ridiculous. So, but fair play to United. He's rocked up finally. You finally lived up to that Klopp's comment.
Do you think you deserve to win that game, or was it United's game they deserved to win?
I think if we started with Fabinho there, yes, we probably deserved to win that game. If that second half was how we started the game, yes, we deserved to win that game because we probably should have. But we didn't. He wanted to start like that, and it bit him in the ass. You can't come back from that at Old Trafford 2-0 down. We scrape back one goal, but that's what you get. The rest of that, Martinez just throwing himself like a rag doll. Good on him. He got ripped off at halftime last time. Wonderstroke. On the other hand, the other bloke throwing himself like a rag doll, Fernandez, he's an absolute twat. Absolute disgrace of a footballer. I can't even comment on him.
Is that because of the dive? Is that what you're referring to?
Which one? He dived about 4 times.
That's a bit rich coming from a Liverpool fan talking about players diving when Salah dives 65 times in 3 weeks. So
I don't give a shit. Dive, whatever. I wasn't even salty about the one in the box. Have a go, dive. They checked it. Fair enough, whatever. But flopping around like an absolute salmon after holding the ball after we scored, being a salty little child, you look like a freaking Year 5 kid just gone and stole the Year 3 ball. And then he's got beaten up about it.
You know what? It was the perfect thing because if he picks up the ball and he holds it, the ref automatically goes, we're going to stop time. Salah obviously doesn't know what the rule is and knows the ref's going to stop time, starts arguing with him. If anything, that allowed the United players to calm down, to breathe, to get back into their shape. And ultimately, I'd say that went as far as calming us down and getting us the win. But I'll let you go first. Talk me through, obviously, the United lineup. Obviously, De Gea, Malacia, Martinez, Varane, Dalot, Eriksen and McTominay, followed by Sancho, Bruno, Alenga, and obviously Rashford up top. What were your thoughts, obviously, on Ronaldo not being in the lineup, Maguire not being in the lineup, Fred not being in that starting lineup either?
Well, basically, Eriksen's still not a holding mid. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be happy playing that forever. Alanga is quality, can't fault it. And Malacia and Dalot, I think was one of their best games in the United shirt. Let's be real. They've done their job perfectly. And yeah, I just like to point out though, you've just accepted that United have been shit, but 6 of that starting 11 is paid more than the Salah a week. So
it doesn't matter about payments. It has nothing to do with payments.
But that's what it is. So that's what we have to expect.
Hold on. So you base a team's quality over what they have to pay to get a player there?
No, I'm not saying it's based on quality because Klopp's proven that it doesn't have to do with the top dollar. But I'm just saying that United have done this and you've still done it again. You've gone into the market again for another one. And Casemiro.
Do you think we're talking about Casemiro? Do you think that's not one of the best signings that's happened this transfer window?
We sat here and questioned the Thiago signing, and Campo still hates on it. It was half the price. At 2 years.
Yeah, but this is a player. This is a player that arguably last year was one of the best, if not the best, defensive midfielder in the world. Obviously, yes, it was at a Madrid, but looking at how Varane played, how Martinez played, how Malacia and Dalot put pressure on Liverpool's fullbacks, you chuck a Casemiro in there, it allows Bruno to stay more forward, it stays Sancho to stay more forward. Is this not the signing? Now, yes, did we overpay? Probably. We have that United price tag, but I think it's a brilliant signing. He's still going to get 2 to 3 years out of Casemiro at his best level. Like, look at that lineup. You move a McTominay out, for example, you put a Casemiro in there. Does it not get 10 times better?
Yeah, but this is almost the same team that lost 4-0 the other week.
Well, it's not, because Varane and Martinez didn't play with each other. Malacia didn't play.
Martinez played with Maguire. Like, yes, there's pieces you can change around, but I don't know. You can't sit here and judge it on this. You should play well, shown up for once. I think it'll go on, and we'll have to wait and see what happens, because United, again, every season will put in a performance that'll work and then go and get battered by someone else. So I'll wait and reserve judgment.
We do have Southampton next, but obviously, just quickly over that United lineup, I thought De Gea finally demanded a bit of that ball. He finally came off his line. I can't remember who he cleared the ball off when he ran out, but I think it might have been Diaz, but he's finally come off his line. He's finally cleared a ball. Malacia, he's becoming a fan favourite. Martinez, I haven't seen one thing question his height after the game today. He was just a warrior, and like you said, he just threw his body at everything. If that's what he's going to do, he's going to get the fans on his side. Varane, it's the best almost RKO I've ever seen him put on Diaz, so we'll move on past that one. Dalot, again, probably one of his best games. Christian Eriksen, Scott McTominay. It's probably a simple answer, but given it is a defensive mid position, who gives way to Casemiro this weekend versus Southampton?
I think it's got to be Eriksen. And I think you reserve. Well, I think you got to play Eriksen in that more forward role and start rotating him through, because you don't have many that can play that three positions. I think Eriksen can play in that middle. Fernandez can go a bit wider if needed. But if you continually hold Eriksen back, you're going to get, as soon as you put Ronaldo back up top, you don't have that same attacking. I think because Rashford in behind is what got it. Ronaldo isn't going to be able to get in behind like he used to. You sit back, and then all of a sudden you've got a traffic jam of 4 going forward right down the middle. And yeah, I think you just need to. I think that'll be where it goes. I think it'll be Fred Casemiro, though.
Do you think Harry Maguire's done? Obviously, there is cup games. There's going to be Europa League. There's going to be Friday night games followed by Sunday or Monday morning games. Do you think Maguire's kind of going to fall out of that rotation, or can you see him fighting his way back in here?
You're going to be stuck like Liverpool are with Henderson.
What do you mean, mate? Chelsea want him. Chelsea can have him. We'll give him to him for free. We'll pay them to take him off our hands for a little bit.
You say that. I think United fans say that, but every other club is going to become absolutely piss themselves laughing at it. And I don't see it happening. I don't know where Maguire fits into that Chelsea 3 at the back. I don't see it. I don't see him moving. He has no reason to move. He'll shove it up his ass. He'll go play for England, turn it up, and all of a sudden he'll demand that his starting spot back for 1 week, and then we realise why he's so shit at United.
Well, they obviously have a spot for Harry Maguire with Koulibaly being sent off. There is a spot for him next weekend, but obviously the same question. Cristiano Ronaldo, there's been massive speculation that he did want out. Obviously, now you've got Varane starting, you've got Martinez, you've got Casemiro. No one really wants to sign Ronaldo. Do you see him obviously leaving still? And do you think that he starts more games and he doesn't start under Erik ten Hag, or do you see him being used off the bench a lot more?
He's going to have to become an off-the-bench player, because that's what he needs to be. That's who he is now. He can't demand a team to play the way he wants to play when at any point he can go, "No, I'm done," and I hang up the boots. No club's going to commit to doing that for him. Maybe an A-League club, come to Australia, they'll probably do whatever the hell he wants. He'd probably score 50 goals down here. Or if you went to Chinese league, or over in the USA, those are the sort of teams that would do that because he would still tear it up down there. But in these top flight teams, they can't afford another 2 seasons of building to how we need to have Ronaldo because there isn't another Ronaldo. We see that
Well, there
with
you go,
Messi
guys.
leaving. But
Before you go, we've heard it there first. Ronaldo is coming to Australia. He's coming to the A-League. Morty's confirmed, but I'm not sure who has the salary cap to sign him, but we'll have to find out. But
I don't even think we have
obviously,
enough
Morty,
money in the country to support that bloke's wage bill. I don't think we sell enough fucking gold and fucking oil.
we'll give him a few sausage sandwiches from Bunnings, and we'll call it even by the end of the week. We'll give him a nice apartment.
That doesn't go into his fucking fresh beef, fucking whatever the hell he eats. Grain fed off the freshly killed each morning goats and fucking shit.
All right. Well, obviously, Morty, I am going to let you have the final say and obviously where you think Liverpool's season goes from here because obviously it has been a poor start. You do have 2 points from 3 games now. Again, people have dropped points, so it's not worst case scenario, but sign us off this week with your final thoughts on Liverpool at the moment.
Liverpool, we need a fucking midfielder. Please. I don't care. Another one. Please.
Well, there you heard it, guys. Liverpool need a midfielder. There is still a week or 2 left in this transfer, so we still will see if they do reinforce after this result. But once again, we have been the Football Tragics. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, and we'll be back for Matchday 4. Morty, thank you for joining me.
Thanks, mate. See ya.